You finally got the raise you'd been working toward for years. The number felt significant. You remember the relief, not excitement, relief, thinking this would be the moment things finally eased up. But within 6 months, maybe less, the money stress came back. Same tightness in your chest when you check your account. Same quiet panic about whether you're actually getting ahead. Same feeling that you're working this hard and somehow still uncertain. You're earning more than you ever have, and you feel exactly the same way you did before. This isn't about being bad with money. You're not reckless. You didn't go on a spending spree or make foolish decisions. You're educated. You're responsible. You track your expenses, or at least you're aware of where the money goes. You read articles about retirement accounts and tax optimization. You know what you're supposed to do, and that's what makes this so disorienting. Because the problem isn't that you don't understand money. The problem is that understanding money has almost nothing to do with what actually happens when you suddenly have more of it. You expected the raise to create breathing room. It didn't. And the fact that it didn't, the fact that you're still stressed despite earning significantly more, makes you question whether anything will ever actually be enough. You're not alone in this, and you're not imagining it. This pattern is so common among intelligent, high-functioning adults that it's almost predictable. The first significant raise arrives, and within months, the financial anxiety returns to baseline. Same stress, different income. It's not a spending problem. It's not a budgeting problem. It's something much quieter and much harder to see.
Here's what actually happened when you got that raise. Your brain didn't process it as more money. It processed it as new normal. And the moment it became your new normal, it stopped feeling like extra. It just felt like yours, like what you earn, like the baseline you now need to maintain. This is called income normalization, and it happens automatically, below conscious awareness, in the weeks and months after your income increases. Your nervous system recalibrates. The number that used to feel aspirational now feels standard. And once it feels standard, it no longer provides relief. It just becomes the new floor, the amount you need to feel okay. Not secure, just okay. But here's the mechanism that makes this trap especially effective for intelligent people. You know you're earning more. Rationally, you can see the difference. You remember what you used to make. You can do the math. So when the stress doesn't go away, you assume the problem must be something you're doing wrong. You must be spending incorrectly. You must not be optimizing hard enough. You must lack discipline. And that assumption, that self-directed suspicion, keeps you from seeing what's actually happening. Income normalization isn't about what you spend, it's about what you permit yourself to need. Before the raise, you had a mental list of things that were off limits, not luxuries, just things you couldn't quite justify. A slightly nicer apartment, a reliable car that doesn't require constant vigilance, ordering delivery when you're too tired to cook, therapy, a gym membership you'd actually use, clothes that fit well, small repairs you've been putting off. These weren't indulgences, they were things you wanted to be the kind of person who could afford without stress. And when the raise came, something very quiet happened. You didn't decide to spend more, you just stopped saying no to yourself as often. Each decision in isolation was completely rational. The apartment with in-unit laundry, the reliable car, the meal kit that makes weeknight cooking possible, the wardrobe update so you look like the professional you are. Completely justified, completely reasonable. But here's the mechanism. Your brain didn't experience these changes as spending increases. It experienced them as corrections, as finally living the way you should have been living all along, as catching up to normal. So when your expenses rose to meet your income, it didn't feel like lifestyle inflation, it felt like basic dignity. And that's why you didn't see it happening, because it wasn't happening to you, it was happening through you, automatically, beneath awareness. Within 10 months, the margin you expected to have, the breathing room the raise was supposed to create, disappeared so gradually you never noticed it was leaving. You're earning 20% more, feeling exactly the same.
Or maybe the raise didn't go to lifestyle at all. Maybe you were disciplined. Maybe you put it all toward debt, student loans, credit cards, the responsible thing. And for a few months, it felt good. You were making real progress. The numbers were going down. You could see the path to being free of this. But then you noticed something. The debt was shrinking, yes, but the stress wasn't. Because even as you paid things off, your brain kept tracking the time it would take, the years ahead, the opportunity cost, the money you'd never get back, the dreams you couldn't pursue because you were still trapped in this. And gradually, quietly, you started to feel resentful. Not of anyone in particular, just resentful. That the raise didn't actually change your life. That you're still locked into the same pattern. That even doing the right thing doesn't feel like winning. The raise didn't fail. You didn't fail. But the promised relief never came. Here's where I need you to stop for a moment. Because if any of this is landing, if you're recognizing yourself in these patterns, the instinct right now is probably to figure out what you should do differently, how to fix it, how to avoid this next time. But that instinct is part of the trap. Because the problem isn't what you did with the money. The problem is what you expected the money to do for you psychologically. You expected it to create security, permanence, freedom from worry. But money doesn't do that, not at this scale, not from a single raise. What it does is reveal how much of your stress was never actually about the dollar amount. It was about the gap between what you have and what you believe you need to feel safe. And that gap adjusts. This is the long-term cost of income normalization. Not that you waste money, not that you fail to save, but that you spend your entire career chasing a feeling of financial relief that keeps moving just ahead of you. You keep thinking the next raise will do it, the next promotion, the next level, and it never does. Because the mechanism that prevents you from feeling the relief isn't tied to the amount. It's tied to your nervous system's need to recalibrate normal. So you work harder, you optimize more, you make smarter decisions, and the stress stays exactly the same. Not because you're failing, but because you're trying to solve an emotional problem with a financial solution. So let me ask you something, and I need you to actually answer this in your head, not just move past it. When was the last time you felt genuinely, durably relieved about money? Not excited about a bonus, not temporarily calm after paying something off, but actually relieved, like you could exhale and know you were okay for longer than a few weeks. Can you even remember? Or has it always been this way, a low-grade hum of vigilance, regardless of the number in your account? Now think about the last raise you got, or the last significant income increase. How long did the relief last before your brain recalibrated it as normal? A month? 3 months? Or did it never actually feel like relief at all? Just a slightly elevated version of the underlying worry. And if you're honest with yourself, if you're really honest, do you believe the next raise will be different? Or do you already know, somewhere beneath the hope, that it won't?
Here's what happens when you see this mechanism clearly. You stop expecting income to fix the feeling. Not because you give up, not because you stop trying to earn more or manage better, but because you recognize that what you're actually dealing with isn't a money problem. It's a nervous system problem, a psychological recalibration problem, a problem of baseline adjustment. And once you see it, once you can name it as it's happening, you gain a sliver of distance from it. The next time you get a raise, pay attention to the first few weeks. Notice the relief. Notice how good it feels. Notice the space it creates in your chest. And then, very gently, watch what happens to that feeling over the following months. Watch how your brain starts categorizing the extra money as normal. Watch how your sense of enough quietly shifts upward. Watch how the things that felt like luxuries start feeling like necessities. You don't have to stop it. Just watch it. Because the real sabotage isn't that you spend the money. It's that you never see the recalibration happening. You never catch your own nervous system in the act of moving the goalposts. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. If this landed, drop a comment. Not about what you're going to do, just whether you recognized yourself in this. Sometimes naming it is enough.